When people think about sales, they picture slick talking, manipulation, and deceiving someone into buying something that they don't even want. That's total BS. Real sales, the kind that makes you money and builds relationships that last years, has almost nothing to do with the product itself.
Help me help you.
It's about solving problems, understanding your client's mindset, and building trust in the first 30 seconds. When I started on Wall Street back in the early 2000s, I thought sales was about being the slickest guy in the room. I was dead wrong. The guy who consistently outperformed everyone wasn't the loudest. He barely talked, but every client called him first. Why? Because they trusted him. And in this video, I'm going to give you the 7 things he and every great salesperson that I knew did, and how you can use them to close more deals, build real relationships, and never chase clients again. Part 1. Stop selling the pen. If you walk into a meeting thinking, I need to close this deal, you've already lost. That mindset makes you desperate, pushy, and fake. Instead, just flip it. What problem does this person have, and how can I solve it better than anyone else? Clients can smell that I need commission stench from a mile away, but if you genuinely care about solving the problem, they'll lean in because that's what they're looking for. You've probably seen Wolf of Wall Street where Jordan Belfort asks his buddy to sell him this pen, and his buddy creates a situation where the pen is suddenly needed. But that's a transactional trick. It's just not repeatable. I mean, how can you sell them another pen? Real sales isn't about creating a fake need. When I always sold the story and the future tied to that pen. Signing your first home purchase, signing a contract that triples your salary, signing your marriage certificate. Every milestone of your life, that pen is gonna be there. Now, it's not just a pen, it's part of your journey. Or maybe your potential customers giving that pen as a gift. And this is how I'd sell it. Oh, you're interested in buying a pen for your nephew or niece? Well, check this out. This pen was given to me by my mom when I graduated college. She passed away a year after in 2003, but I've used this pen to sign every major document since. She's been with me throughout every milestone of my life: houses, contracts, marriage license, and each birth certificate. Now that's just not a product, that's memories, that's legacy. You know what else? It's entirely true. In fact, here's the pen right here. True salesmanship transforms a product into a story. When you connect what you're selling to a client's goals, emotions, and memories, it becomes more than a transaction. It becomes part of their narrative, and that makes you unforgettable. Part 2. Know your product inside and out. You can't sell what you don't understand, period. On Wall Street, if you didn't know your stock, your ETF, your option strategy down to the tick, clients would just eat you alive. Same thing in any business. Know your product better than anyone else. Anticipate every question before you sit in front of a client. Pretend you are the client and pick apart your own pitch. And if they push back, you don't panic because you already know the answer. Knowledge builds confidence, and confidence builds trust. Part 3, ask great questions. This is where most people screw up. They talk too much. The best salespeople, they shut up and listen. Ask smart, open-ended questions that gets you the information that you'll need to help make a sale. Like, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? If you could fix one thing in your business tomorrow, what would it be? How is this issue affecting your business's bottom line? What's stopping you from hitting your goals? The answers they give you are literally the blueprint for closing the deal. Now, the most important part of asking a question is shutting up after you ask it. Don't mumble uncomfortably, change the topic, or ask another question because the client will always answer the last question you ask them. Just wait, be silent, even if it goes on for 30 seconds. In my opinion, silence is the most important part of a sale, full stop. Try it and you'll find out that I'm right. Part 4, build trust through authenticity. People buy from people they trust, not from the smoothest talker. On my desk, the guys who lasted weren't the ones with the flashiest pitch. They're the ones who told the truth, even when it cost them business in the short term. If a particular product isn't right for the client and doesn't fit their risk profile, say it. That honesty earns respect. And once you have trust, you don't need to sell anymore because clients will come to you. Be the guy that people trust, the one that they call to get an honest opinion from, even if they aren't doing business with you. I would also say that being yourself is very important because acting like a person you're not is just too difficult a deception to keep up. Part 5, handle objections like a pro. When someone pushes back, don't argue, don't get defensive, lean in. Objections mean that they're interested. They just need clarity. If they say, it's too expensive, reframe it as, compared to what? And walk them through the value. If they say, I'm not ready, then ask, what would make you ready? Objections aren't rejection. They're just opportunities to understand your client better and then refine your pitch. If you're selling cars and someone walks into your dealership, you're 85% of the way there already. They walked in. Buying a car is on their mind. All you can do is it up at this point. Granted, some people walking in may not be in the financial position to be buying a car right now, but you can always ask what their timeline looks like for making this type of purchase, and that really gives you all the information that you need. Part 6. Close by adding value, not pressure. Forget the cheesy always be closing line. You don't need high pressure tactics. If you've done everything else right, the close is simply just connecting the dots, right? So here's your problem. Here's how my solution fixes it. Here's what happens if we move forward. That's it. Straightforward, respectful, and confident. Now, if you're looking for a way to articulate this into a close, try this. Look, based on everything you've told me, I feel pretty confident moving forward with this, and I think you do too. How about we go through what the next steps look like together? This reinforces trust, confidence, that you're listening to them, and that you're inserting yourself throughout the entire process. Part 7, don't cross the line. Listen, I've seen enough that I'm always wary of the sales guy that outperforms his peers by multiples consistently. Is he or she really that good? I mean, this is the Bernie Madoff outperforming the market's paradox. If the performance is too good to be true, then it is. Managers will often look the other way because to them, results are all that matter. But I saw this firsthand with sales guys in Japan who are ultimately pretty average, getting massive sales credits from different clients. It turns out they were leaking inside information. Now, that's not sales, that's fraud. Most of those guys and their bosses got fired. The thing is, never let your ambition blind your sense of ethics. Don't get caught up in the BS, it's just not worth it. Now listen, great salespeople aren't manipulators. They're problem solvers. They know their product. They ask great questions. They listen, they tell the truth, and they build trust. If you do that consistently, you don't need to chase clients. They'll end up chasing you. That's how you win in sales. Now, if you've got a story about the best or worst salesperson you've ever dealt with, hopefully the worst, I want to hear the worst, drop it in the comments. Man, I really want to hear that. And hit that like and subscribe if you want to see more of this real life type of stuff that I've seen work in my own life. Because the most important part of investing is actually having money to invest. So let's try to get there together. I'm Seth Moran. Thanks for watching. And remember, kindness is the rent we pay on earth. So do something nice for someone.